It'd be like building a dam, like the Hoover Dam, to like build up water behind like a barrier and then force it through a smaller area so that we can get a lot of power by
Okay, so
just
if you're
water.
building up water in one location, isn't that taking water from another location, killing the environments of animals that live there?
It's not necessarily killing the environment. If anything, it's building up the environment and the reservoir that's behind the hydroelectric dam.
It
But
creates
what
an
about
entirely
the-
new
But that makes
ecosystem.
a whole more water, which becomes more fishes and stuff like that, but they're not gonna kill the fishes. They have like special dams to not kill them. So it makes it more like, maybe the cities might, like the houses near the dam might have to like, they might have to move so it's bad for the people, but for the animals, it'll be more water, which is more.
But what if the animals don't know to follow the water and go to that new environment?
It's not gonna rise that
It wouldn't be a
quickly.
new environment. It would just be increasing the water in which they like are currently in. Or the area, like it would be increasing the water level where they are.
Alright, Abraham.
But,
You have anything to say?
no, I agree with this mostly about his first point about making like the hydroelectric, like the workers and stuff like that. What you say again about the hydroelectro workers and stuff like that?
It would create more jobs than any of the other alternative energy sources.
So what would happen if the dam were to break?
I mean, obviously it would be a catastrophe, but if, you know, there hasn't been a major catastrophe involving a dam in a very long time. And with modern technology, that would never happen.
Any other points, Mike? Okay. Moving on to the next question.
Are you recording?
I'm recording.
Oh, okay.
Ethan, under what conditions would you send American troops in harm's way when America's security is not at risk?
If you think about the question that you just asked, you said under which circumstances would I send troops into harm's way when there is no direct threat to America's safety? I think that's completely unreasonable. I think that America, A, has no position to be involved in other people's business, and B, that the American troops should not be sent into an area where they cannot be safe. I mean, obviously, if we're going to fight in a war that America is directly involved in, then we should send troops. However, if the war is not directly affecting us and our economy, then we should not send troops in harm's way.
Okay.
I don't have to add anything to that question because my opponent here said everything exactly how it should have been said.
Okay, Abraham.
I also agree with his point, but also say like, if we're not getting attacked by any other country or we're in arms, might as well just not go to war, because that's just causing problems, and especially trying to cause problems, that's a whole different story. But, yeah.
Can you repeat the question?
Under what conditions would you send American troops into harm's way when America's security is not at risk?
I feel like there's no reason why start a war with someone else that has nothing to do with us.
Also, helping other countries is what we do a lot, so, like, we did in Vietnam, like South Vietnam and North Vietnam, it's like, what we do is, America likes to help little countries, just so they can say, okay, they like to get involved, that's what America likes to do, they like to say, okay, we have power without actually going to war, which is, cause if we do go to war, that's a whole different nuclear war, which is not gonna end well, but we like to get involved with little things, and that's what we like to do. I don't know why, but that's just America.
Alright. So let me ask you a similar question since that was kind of short. What's your stance on military spending?
I think we should. I mean, I'm not sure how it is right now with American spending, but if it's causing more debt for something that's not like, because what the military likes to do, they like to also make money while they're out too. It's not just like we're doing war business. No, we're doing business with the military too. But if it's causing, I'm not sure how much we spend on war, but
It's like 680 billion. It's three times.
And we in debt, right?
It's three times the next country's spending on the military. Wow.
yeah. So I don't know. I guess I would say decrease, but I'm not 100% sure on what they're used for, because there's a lot of technology that military uses that can actually benefit us, like you know, like just in case there's anything bad to happen, natural disasters. Also, you know, they also help with that. Like, so it's a lot of things that we need to be safe, but also it's not like overdoing it.
So I do have a
I think that America would be better off if we decrease spending on the military. Cause, A, we're already spending 3 times more than the next country in
Right.
line. And B, because America doesn't need to be involved in little wars like, in Syria right now, or, little skirmishes like that. We shouldn't be involved. Plus, we can take the money from that and feed it into things that we need more, like infrastructure or, other, programs.
So I want to increase military spending. The only reason to do this is for peace through strength. Because if we're strong and powerful enough, our enemies wouldn't want to come at us.
So you don't think we're strong enough already?
I think that we're strong, but after 8 years of weak military spending and a weak administration in foreign policy, which literally gave terrorists money, we need to rebuild our military so it is the best in the world, so that we're not being beaten by nations like China and nations like Russia.
So
So
you're
that
saying,
8 years, you're saying we had weak spending these past 8 years?
I'm saying that we didn't focus on our military as much in the past 8 years,
So what
in the
about-
previous
So
administrations.
what have we been doing then?
We've been focusing on social programs and giving money to terrorists
So.
in Iran.
Terrorists.
Look up
So
the
when-
Iran nuclear
so
deal.
when we say-
Look up the Iran nuclear
So,
deal.
Iran-
It
you're
happened.
saying,
Hey, but
if
Iran is
if
not
y'all are
terrorist.
saying
You're
like,
saying Iran is
if the
a-
spending
it's a
is
country.
low,
Sorry.
like, the
What?
spending, does that mean just the money, see, they can have some more time, cause I'm interrupting.
We got to debate.
So, I'm so sorry, I just have a question. So, if it's the military spending, what is that, like, shouldn't it be focused on the training for so,
Exactly.
instead of the money?
So
Okay, not the base.
the money goes into training, it goes into upgrading our nuclear weapons, it goes into upgrading the weapons we already have, it goes into surveillance, it goes into funding all the military officers. So we pay our military, we pay them a lot of good money, we have lots of good people in our military. And,
I say I do not agree with his
I don't
debate or
agree
anything,
either.
cause he just said we should increase it, and we're also giving it to terrorists when he said Iran, which is also kind of racist to be honest. But Iran is a country, it's not just terrorists, there's also a lot of people.
before the current Muslim regime took over in Iran, they
Muslims
were
also
completely
Christian.
free, they were free people. Then Saddam Hussein came in, he took over the government, and the people are no longer free. Currently, there are people in Iran that want political revolution. And under the previous administration, they tried to cover this up and gave Iran a bunch of money and gave them the road to build a nuclear weapon.
Alright, but the initial question was, should we increase spending? He's talking about like, he kind of took it to a different direction.
Yeah,
but
you just went
increased spending
left.
is not what's gonna help with what you just said.
To increase spending to
To
curb
make it
these
strong,
threats.
Yeah,
If-
but we're already strong, there's no threats.
But we could be stronger.
But
So
there's
you
no
want to
threats
weaken
on us.
America?
I'm not saying we should weaken it, I'm saying
But
we
if
should
we
just
keep-
go.
if we
Cutting
keep-
government spending is
We're-
weakening
we're
America.
spending so much money that is making us weak when you see it in the future.
Exactly.
Okay.
It's a lot of money.
Okay.
can we move on to the next?
Yeah, let's
Yeah,
move on.
my bad.
What's the time? Oh.
Y'all would know.
What's the next topic?
It was like 5.
Next
Yeah,
one.
y'all put.
The last question is, Ethan,
Mhm.
how do you believe the federal government should handle immigration issues?
I believe there should be a complete revision of the immigration system. Currently, it takes about 6 months to become a legal citizen of the United States, and that's completely unacceptable. My opponent here, Abraham, wants to make that process 6 years, which is completely unacceptable. The people who want to come into this country legally should have the option to, and should have the option to quickly and efficiently, which means we need to completely revise the immigration system.
Revise it.
We'll
Oh,
get
wait,
to
we ain't there yet.
Okay.
Alright, Daniel, right?
Yes.
Anything, okay. How do you believe the federal government should handle immigration issues?
So, we are being invaded through the southern border. We are being invaded. It is, illegal immigration is a problem. It needs to be fixed. So to do this, we could either increase spending to fund a constant military surveillance on our southern border, or we could build a wall and try to keep those people out. We also need to reform the actual immigration system itself, giving people who want to enter the country illegally an easier path to get into the country legally. like cutting off some of the fees that it may take to get into the United States. We need to take in, I would like to take in refugees. I'm a kind person at heart. I see the people suffering around the world, and I want to help them out. But we need to make sure those people aren't bringing in anti-American influences into our country. So we need tougher immigration systems, but we also need to make it easier at the same time to get into the country.
Abraham, how do you believe the federal government should handle immigration issues?
Well, I'm gonna be unbiased right here, and plus, like he said, he just said my one fact about 6 years, but I have things to back it up. It's not just, oh, you're here for 6 years and you get and then you're a U.S. citizen. I see the problem too. There's some people like in every country. We're not just talking about the south border, like he's talking about, like Mexico and stuff. No, there's people from other countries that are also coming that y'all really don't see as immigration. But anyways, the reason I said 6 years is because that needs some time for an immigrant who came here, so they can get more, they can get a house, and if they're an obedient citizen and they obey the law and they follow the laws, they have mortgages, they pay taxes. Every immigrant pays taxes. People don't know that. Do y'all know that?
Yes.
We all pay taxes, and also we don't get taxes back, which is basically stealing. What the U.S. does, and even the government knows this. The reason they can deport everybody, like they can deport so many people just by, okay, you don't have a social security number and you're paying this house. Just check it, deport. Trump can do that easily. But we need immigrants, and they know this.
Yeah. Okay. Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Mike, how do you believe the federal government should handle immigration issues?
What's your name again? Ethan, I do agree with Ethan, and I agree with Abraham. I feel like we should speed the process for immigrants that do want to come and be a U.S. citizen. I feel like it does take way too long for them with the green card and all that, so I do feel like this process should be more efficient and quicker. I agree with Abraham with the 6 years, but I feel like it should be less. I feel like it should be more like 3, like split it in half, cause I
You said three.
understand. Oh, you said 3? Well, I feel like I agree with him, because you do need to come over here and see how the U.S. is. You do need to pay your taxes, build, have a living, get a job, buy a house. I feel like if you come over here and you see how the U.S. is, and then you can become a citizen.
All right. Now, Ethan, do you have anything? That's how we're gonna do it. One more.
I would like to say that, your point about, coming to America, working for a little while and then becoming a citizen, I think that's completely reasonable, and I completely agree with it. However, the American, immigration system is already set up to have, the ability to work on a visa in America, where you can, you can come into America, obtain that, and work for a while, get the money to pay the fees to become a citizen, and then pay the fees and become a citizen while still keeping your job in America. I'd just like to say that.
All right.
Okay, so currently in the United States, there is a program called the Diversity Lottery that takes people from all over the world, puts them into a lottery, and randomly draws them out. So this is a problem. It's not diversity itself. Diversity is a good thing. America is a diverse country already. It is the people that get put into the diversity lottery are not properly vetted, and they can get into the United States with bad intentions in mind. So if my administration is elected, we will get rid of the diversity lottery, but instead enroll all the people currently enrolled in the lottery program to start the immigration process.
Abraham.
Well, I noticed what he's saying a lot is that we're bringing bad influences to his country, which is really not true. And I'm gonna just, like I said earlier about what I think so is you should get a mortgage, pay your taxes. If you're an obedient citizen, not without the thing, but if you're obedient, then I don't see why there's a problem when you're obeying the law and you're paying your thing. It's land. At the end of the day, it's land. If you want to go to another country, I don't see why you can't if you're doing everything obedient. But also, like he said, I see what you said about the visa too. So the thing is, it's not as easy how you say it, because I'm not gonna be biased, but like it's just not as easy as you say, because you're gonna have to have lawyers, you're gonna have to pay this, you have to bring this, and they're gonna have to check up on you. So it's a big process, and when you're coming from a struggle, it's like, okay, we come here obedient, and then they want to take from you. Okay, let them do that, but at the end of the day, it's land. You're doing what you want. But
So
you're not getting-
So being an obedient person, you would say if they break any laws,
Yeah, oh yeah.
if
that's
you
right.
break any laws, then you should be
Yeah.
deported to your
Oh,
previous
yeah.
country.
Also
correct?
says, yeah.
So you would say that all illegal immigrants, because they broke a law by entering the United States illegally, should be deported to their previous country.
I say, as if a felon, class,
Can I-
criminal law,
can I say
it should be checked up once a year. So if you're being checked up once a year, they're monitoring you. If they're monitoring you and, okay, you just come from this, you saying that's one law, who made that law?
The United States government.
Alright, so they made so many laws, they say you can't, they made so many laws they say you can't do.
A
People are
nation
gonna-
without borders
people are
is not a
gonna-
nation at all.
Alright,
People are gonna-
Mike, do you have
Alright.
it?
Nobody-
Yeah, I got an answer to that, I didn't do mine.
Let Ethan get his word in.
Okay, I'd like to say that, illegal immigrants should not be considered criminals because of the failure of the US to create a good immigration system.
But they still
Yeah,
came
that's
in
what I'm
illegally.
saying.
And it's the US government's fault.
The US government makes laws like these just to, oh, they broke the law like this, they have to go back. Who made that law? Who makes them the right?
Well,
When
can I-
they came,
can I say
when they're the
something?
ones that started it,
Can I say
they're the ones
something?
that literally came in
Say
the
it.
beginning
Say it.
and just took over and said, oh, anyone else wants to come, you're breaking the law, you gotta go back.
Okay, I feel like they shouldn't be deported back to where they came from, I just feel like they should have consequences. I feel like certain things, citizens, they should have them taken away, they can still stay here, they just, you broke the rule or the laws, so you have to pay for it.
Cause it's a reason why they
It's a
came
reason,
down.
exactly, you wanna get over here so bad, you get over here, don't do what you're supposed to, consequences.
Mhm.
Can you give an example?
Yeah,
That's
what's
time
the- what's the
anyways.
consequence?
Give an example, I don't, like, I mean, I'm not saying go to jail, I said getting certain privileges taken away.
Certain rights.
Certain rights.
So like
I mean,
paying a fine or something.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Fine or go to
pay a
prison
fine,
or-
no, not go to prison.
So you wanna take away people's rights if that happens?
Oh Lord.
I didn't
Yeah,
say,
like, yeah, specific.
I said
Okay.
fines,
Okay.
I said fines, not,
Okay.
right.
So if you break the law and you're not a citizen, then you don't face the full consequences of breaking the law.
Ooh, I like that.
But I didn't say, okay, what
That is
exactly
what you
breaking
said.
the law?
Like if you break the law in the United States, which is what you said, right? Right, you're coming to the country while applying for citizenship, right? And you break a law, you're saying that that person would not have to face the full consequences of breaking the
Well,
law?
no, he can face the consequence, I just feel like they shouldn't be deported back, that's what I said.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I feel like they should pay for the consequence, be what you said, just don't be deported back.
Alright,
Yeah.
that's fair.
Yeah.
Is that all the questions you have?
Yes, it
Do we have 30 seconds as a closing statement for each person?
We
No.
don't.
No, this video has been 18 minutes long. No.